Good morning. It's June the 2nd, 2025. A few words about, um, I guess, kind of being like the phoenix rising from the ashes. I think I've said this enough times. Um, the worst has already happened. The worst offer has already happened. Who knows where it goes from there? But the bottom line is, this is your life. This will be your life at Canada Post if you plan to stick around. This attitude has not changed from Canada Post since the day I started in 1981, and it didn't start before. Uh, it didn't start when I started. It's been going on since the '60s and '70s. So um, they look at you as a number. You're just a number. They don't care. You're there until they figure out how to do it some way else, some other way. So anyhow, um, what you have to do is get yourself into a different mindset. Okay, you come in and you do your job, and you do what they pay you to do. Not, oh, can you do me a favor? Can you do this? There's no favors, because favors with Canada Post are only one way. So there is no favors. You have a collective agreement signed by both parties. So even the employer comes along to you and says, you better read your collective agreement, mister. And they try and jam something down your throat. Well, there's plenty you can jam down their throat because they're violating it every day with things they say to people. So you have to have a different attitude. You have to kind of almost like have brain surgery or something. You change your mind. Starting the day we have a new contract, or even now, you've got to get solidarity. And you've got to understand one thing is that the National Union was sent by you to negotiate. They're not negotiating with the media. They're not negotiating with you. They're negotiating for you, for what you gave them at the negotiation demands. So I think a lot of people are misunderstood what a union is. They think, oh, I wasn't in a union before. Now I'm in a union, and you just may wave a magic wand, and the management says, oh, I'm scared, I'm gonna. That's not the way it works. It's the combined membership, 55,000 members that are in our union. Those people bound together will scare the hell out of Canada Post. So what they've got to do is to water it down. And they do that by spreading little rumors, putting little fires everywhere, you know? You're almost like firemen now putting out fires because new people go, oh, I just heard this, I just heard this. They're going to fire us all. But you know what? You got a whole bunch of rules. You got the labor code. You've got your collective agreement. You've got all kinds of things going on. You've got, we don't do past practice. It's just a courtesy, but there is the collective agreement, which is still in place, and you got sensible people negotiating for you. Now, just because they're not negotiating what you want now, doesn't mean they're not working for you. They're working for what you sent them to do. Name calling and all this sort of stuff is only helping Canada Post punish you. So can you see the thing where you if you've got some nasty remark for a union rep, save it for a meeting and go tell them, or her, whoever's in charge. But to do it publicly on the floor, you sound like a shill for Canada Post. That's what you sound like. And I'm really disturbed about all this because prior to the I keep calling them the Harper years. I guess you can call them HYs, but prior to them, there was a lot of solidarity. Even though there was people running and sometimes there's a little disagreements between each other, there was solidarity. And Canada Post was concerned about that. When we negotiated or we did restructures with our productivity, we always gained on it. We gained walks all the time. The country is growing. Why are you losing walks? We gained them. So after the Harper years and they started infiltrating Canada Post with all their management's friends and relatives and cousins and neighbors, They watered down, well, at least they tried to water down the union. So you have a different union now. So you have to accept that. But the way to get it back, the way to get back your bargaining power, is don't take any crap from them. You're in a big union, you're in a tough union, and you've said to yourself, "Oh, I just started at Canada Post, and I'm wondering what are all these people so angry about? They're uncooperative with the boss, and they're filing grievances because you're in a different workplace." And those people, which was including myself, didn't take crap from anybody, not even my coworkers. So you think things are down, they're not. You have to change your thinking. The collective agreement bargaining isn't going to change. Your mind has to change. And your union will turn around and tell you that we have another offer from Canada Post. I'm going to present it to you because it's within what you told them to do. This is what I want. So why would you go in bargaining for Cadillacs and come out and say, we'll take a Russian Lada SUV? You know what I mean? It's like you don't jump at everything. I think it's a misunderstanding. It's a lack of education on the union, a lack of education on the process of bargaining, and all the rules and laws all around. You jumped into a big ball of fire, or like the heart of a volcano. Canada Post has always been the government's favorite football. Kick us around, do all this sort of stuff. And that's what they've done. So you want to move on. Who do we have here? Oh, my little dog down there. So anyhow, that's what I'd like to see is when you start getting a plan together of how to get a group together. You don't have to like each other after work, but at work, solidarity is what gets you everywhere. After work, if you don't like someone, don't even talk to them. Don't have associate with them. Don't go out for beers with them or go to a family baseball thing. Don't do anything. You don't have to. But at work, solidarity wins the day. That's what it does. And they say, "Oh, there's no solidarity in here." No, you got this guy slamming your officer. You got crapping all over your shop steward who works for free. I mean, you don't understand. So I don't like harping on it, but read your Constitution. That's the collective agreement is something that's already in the process. But read your Constitution, and it will tell you what everybody gets paid, what the process is, who's in charge. The whole thing rests with the membership. So you've already sent something to the national negotiators. You can't turn around, and that whole thing is sealed now. You can't turn around and say, "Oh, I got an idea. Why don't we do this?" No, you've already had that chance. So what you're negotiating for now is within that framed idea or goal that you want. If it's something, a little bit of this, a little bit of that has changed, they'll bring it back to you. But if it's a whole new ball game, the Canada Post sees everybody fighting with each other and say, "Hey, let's drive the car right up the middle." So you don't want that. No way you want that. So change your mind. Come into work. And if you don't like some people you work with, don't talk to them. But get some solidarity. You got to be behind your bargaining agents, your national officers, and Canada Post knows that. That's why they're spreading all this stuff. Hey, I don't know how many times I've seen this over the years. So you can't continue like that, because you know what happens? Every time you're bargaining, it's less and less. You're bargaining down because they throw things at you. And then if you don't take it, they go to binding arbitration, and then they cry poor. And guess what happens after they cry poor? You go back to work every time. Think about it. Every time you've gone back to work when they said they don't have any money, money flows like water. Parking lots full of electric vehicles. For a company that says that their I guess their usage by the public is dropping, why are they so obsessed with automation and spending billions on it? Automation is ridiculous. That's when you've got more business and you want to try and handle it. What they're doing is the opposite. So if they just left everything the way it was, in the way of the delivery process and the call mail and everything, they would be successful. But they didn't. They wanted to go automation, we're high tech like everybody else. We don't want to be left behind. Well, high tech for what? You said your business is slowing down. So if you're and another example is parcels. The thing now seems to be parcel delivery. Who's going to get the most out of parcel delivery? So what does automation of sorting letters have to do with that? They've done this dynamic routing and breaking things down so you can't crisscross anymore, and breaking it down so you can't cheat, and you can't do this and you can't do that. They're breaking all that down to its simplest form, where you can't do the way you used to do, which was a reasonable job for reasonable pay, and now here you are. So you got yourself, the union didn't, you are the union. The union did not get you in this position, and the union is trying to get you out. And while they're trying to get you out, you're crapping on them. So you got to recognize first, all you've got to do is stop. Just stop it. And you'll have those people that are negotiating for you. They can say, yeah, well, the membership's behind us, right? They're behind us, and we're telling you this is what we want. But that's not what's happening now. When you've got half the membership fighting and saying, I'll take anything, just stop. You've already got a job. You've already got 8 hours, the ones that are 8-hour workers, right? So what is the problem? I know you want to improve. Canada Post wants to improve by going the other way. So you got to meet in the middle somewhere. But where are you at a disadvantage right now? You're working harder all the time because of something you're doing. So it's got nothing to do with the union or Canada Post. It's things you're showing them, and it's things you keep agreeing to. You've got a collective agreement. Oh yeah, I'll do that. I'll do this. Never mind. You know what? We'll organize this for you. And that's the problem. After they do these organizations, we never cooperated with them. It's up to them to make them work. But what happens now? Canada Post does something and it's not working, so all these people get together and tell Canada Post what they did wrong and how they could fix it. That's not our job. We don't get paid $120,000, $150,000 a year. That's their job. They bring in a thing that's not working, like dynamic sorting. Everybody says it's not working. So why do you show them where it's not working? That's up to them. Why are you showing them all this stuff? You're standing on a box with a noose around your neck, and you're saying to the boss, I don't think it was tied properly. Can I help you tie that? That's what you're doing. So until you realize that, until you realize that you are the problem and own the problem, until then, you're going to continue with this for the next 10, 20, 30 years, however long you got left for most of you. And it's not going to get better, it's going to get worse. So if you think of the old days of militant postal workers, they were no different than you. None. They were probably financially in the same position. The only difference is, when I was started, people weren't buying ATVs and boats and campers and laptops and iPads and, one-upping the neighbor on birthday parties. And it was like family events, family union events, dinner with family. It wasn't this whole thing that's going on now. We're trying to, I guess, when I say we, I'm not in that we group, but we as Canadians seem to want to live like, we are champagne, and but we have a beer diet. It's like it's not working. So get together, go to meetings, and figure out. First of all, read your Constitution. That is so important. It is online. It is in a searchable PDF. You can even print out pages. You can do whatever you want, but learn that, and you'll learn you shouldn't be angry at your national officers. So anyhow, once you've got that together, get together in a group. You can't stand each other, but go to the meeting, and as a meeting, you are all equal, no matter how crazy you are or how how well you speak English and don't speak English, or maybe you got different ideas, different political views. When you go to a meeting, you're union members, and you decide things as equal workers. You're not there as your ideology of, how the post office should run. That's not up to you. That's up to the negotiating people in Canada Post. You're just a worker bee. Go in the morning, work your 8 hours, and go home. And if they give you too much work, don't tell them how to fix it. Just don't say either. You make a choice. Do I work it or do I leave it after 8 hours? That's their call, not yours. Anyhow, good luck with all that stuff. I know you're a little concerned, but your life isn't going to change. You've got job security, so maybe you won't like what happens. Maybe you will like what happens. But right now, you have a job. You have 8 hours. You have a family. You have a reasonable life. I don't know what else you want. So you go back to work when you're back with a new collective agreement, and if it's more work, well, then adjust to that. Adjust and say, you know what? This is as fast as I walk, or this is as fast as I sort. So I'm not going to give in to your plan. That's what happens. So for you to continue to, you know what? If you sorted this over there and put that over there, and then made the choices a little different, it would work. Yeah, it would work. Screw you again. So don't help them. That's the whole thing. That's why they get paid $150,000 a year. These big brains at the post office. They're not going to give you $150,000 to tell them how it works better. That's up to them. You just go along with them. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Don't cooperate. Don't say, "Oh, I got a way to fix it." You know what's missing. You know what you did wrong. You know what you could do better. Yeah, well, I know what you could do better. Enjoy life with your family after 8 hours. So, anyhow, have a good day and solidarity to all. And I hope you settle with a good collective agreement in the future.